Her wallet added a room key, and he shared access. The banner didn't blink. It announced itself with courtesy that felt like trespass. Room key added to wallet, my phone said, confetti polite as a maitre d'. Underneath, smaller type as if whispering gossip. Shared by R. Collins. Express mode enabled. Express mode meant a door would open without a face or a thumb. Convenience is an argument that rarely asks permission. I was plating cold lasagna for the second night in a row, a ritual that pretends to be frugality and is really fatigue, when the notification slid across and turned my kitchen into a lobby. I tapped it because I am worse at pretending than I want to be. The pass filled the screen, a glossy card with the Arcadian's crest and a number, 1007. Little toggles sat beneath like temptations. Allow access, share key, remove. The bottom line was a punchline the app believed we'd laugh at together, added by Rowan Collins. Naomi had texted at 8, panel, donors, quick drink, don't wait up, punctuated with the green heart she uses when she wants me to collaborate with her lateness. We've been doing this since spring. The center learned to say yes to checks with good commas. The checks arrived attached to men in navy coats and practiced benevolence. Rowan is one of their names. He curates rooms and sentences and the part of generosity that photographs. I put the phone down and the house looked at me. The plant that keeps forgiving us for our window, the dog who has learned not to judge the hour, the lamp that makes the table brave. I did the one useful thing I know after dark. I walked to Loom. Loom smells like orange peel and reprieve. The lights are warm enough to imagine decency and bright enough to prevent perjury. Anna stood behind the counter with sleeves rolled, wiping a clean surface in the way people pray when they refuse theater. The pale crescent scar on her wrist caught the light like a modest alarm. She saw my face and poured water without making me earn it. Which app tried to be romantic? She asked. Wallet, I said. Room key, shared by his name, express mode on. Anna's mouth tilted, not unkind. Spectacle is a sugar crash, she said, tapping the bar like a metronome. Mara's in the corner. She'll tell you to bake bread. Mara sat where she always sits in my emergencies. Red scarf folded into compliance, notebook flattened by a rubber band, eyes that have collected enough accurate mistakes to qualify as a public good. I slid into the chair opposite and placed my phone face up like a reluctant witness. She listened, really listened, while I narrated facts dressed as questions. When I finished, she brushed a crumb off the margin and asked the only one that matters. Bread or sugar? Bread, I said. It felt like my mouth remembering its job. Good, she said. Go home, turn on one lamp, put the pass on the table, unlock the door for accuracy, not for guests. Ask for one sentence you can live inside. Turn off express mode not because doors deserve it but because truth does. On the way back, I took the long route past the Arcadian because superstition loves to wear rigor like cologne. Under the awning stood Navy, practicing weather management. He didn't see me or he pretended not to. I pretended I was a person who had evolved beyond speeches. At home, I turned on the kitchen lamp, the one that makes the table tell the truth, and set the phone where we write rules on the backs of receipts. Express mode glowed a cheerful green. I toggled it off. Access revoked, the banner said, like a clerk announcing a closed register. I unlocked the door because Mara says accuracy is kinder than dignity. The dog padded in, considered my posture, and lay down with a sigh that sounded like, "Don't waste it." Naomi came in at 12:14 with drizzle in her hair and the lanyard still around her neck like a stubborn task. She closed the door with that extra inch of care that forgives hinges. She saw the lamp, the phone, the way my hands were impersonating furniture. Wallet told on me, she said, mouth doing the shape it makes when she hates the part of herself that enjoys good fonts. Room key, I said, shared express mode. She leaned her hip against the counter like she was choosing a jurisdiction. Accuracy, she said, and touch, in either order you can stand. Touch then truth, I said, because my body wanted to go first and my mouth wanted not to ruin it. We didn't go to bed to erase a card. We went because bodies can keep promises while words sort themselves into verbs. She stood in front of me, and I raised the zipper of her dress slowly. Exact, the motion we reserve for nights when we intend to be careful with each other. The fabric made that small, honest sound clothes make when they agree to stop pretending to be architecture. She placed my palm at her hip and pressed until stay remembered its job. I kissed the hinge of her jaw where her certainty keeps breathing, and she said my name in the version that means keep. We asked our short questions, here, slower, more, and answered in breath, the language that never tries to impress a third party. We laughed once because a sleeve attempted melodrama and she rescued me with her teeth. Heat arrived like tide. We met it where we always do, competent instead of cinematic. When we came apart together, the room looked proud again. After, with the window cracked so the city could practice weather for someone else, she lay with her cheek on my chest and traced a circle with one finger over the place where my worst ideas nap. Accuracy, she said into skin. He sent it because he thinks consent can be delegated. And you, I said. I accepted because I wanted to monitor the lie, she said. I wanted to see if the card would feel like a temptation or a joke when it lived next to my subway pass. I pinned the number in notes because I wanted to be dramatic about not going. Then I remembered I like stairs, and that lobbies don't count. You climbed, I said, half prayer, half inventory. 4 flights, she said. On the outside, the ugly stairwell that smells like paint and honesty. I stood in the hall and listened to a key open a door I didn't go through. Then I climbed 10 more just to make my breath remember whose it is. I came home and the app congratulated me on flights. I let it. I liked the wrong part of the right thing. Express mode, I said, letting the phrase audition and get rejected. I turned it on because a small, petty part of me wanted to prove I could make a door love me, she said. I turned it off on the stairs when I realized every green toggle I left in the world was an invitation for fate to claim it had been expected. Is he a guest in anything of ours? I asked. No, she said. He is a workflow I no longer respect. We went back to the table because kitchens have better acoustics for truth. I opened the pass and hit remove. The phone rippled a polite thank you. Naomi opened messages and wrote a single line. Do not share access to anything with my name on it ever again. She sent it to the number that occasionally behaves like a person. She blocked it because sometimes pettiness is a nutrient. I'm not pure, she added, as if the ritual needed completing to make our breath honest. I wanted to be admitted without effort. Then I wanted to be kept by a room that notices effort. I am trying to want the second first. We need rules, I said, because ritual builds scaffolding around our better selves. Tools, not bars. She smiled the way she does when we remember why we remain here. We wrote on the back of her panel agenda with the pencil in the drawer that refuses to retire. 1. No digital key to anything we haven't named in this kitchen. The only express mode in our life is a green light we give each other. 2. Stairs count as endings. Lobbies do not. Toggles are not invitations. 3. Novelty is a chore your weeks. Wrong hour for the right thing. My weeks. Move the furniture until the light has to remember us. 4. When either of us misses the wrong gaze, we say it out loud and then do 3 stupid ordinary things until wanting behaves. Peel oranges over the sink. Play one song to the end before anything important. Kiss in the doorway so the apartment believes us. We did them because midnight respects checklists. We peeled oranges. The bright smell turned the room toward the future. We played the song that knows the difference between apology and talent. We stood in the doorway and kissed until the pipes clicked like elderly witnesses, swearing we were tellers of truth. In the morning, I made my phone dumber. I turned off every helpful switch that confuses hospitality with consent. I renamed my home key to a word that makes me laugh, bread, because pettiness keeps the wolves from the door. Naomi made coffee and read me a student paragraph about restraint that didn't make either of us want to quit. Discipline is desire with settings, she said, rolling her eyes at herself and liking it anyway. I want hours. At lunch, because superstition likes costumes, I walked past the Arcadian. Under the awning stood Navy, speaking to a woman who looked like a late apology. He saw me and arranged benevolence on his face like a necktie. "You're lucky," he said, as if the blessing he carries could be split like a check. "I trained," I said, "and kept my back for the person who earned it." I went a loom because victory tastes better named by Anna and ignored by Mara, which is her way of saying continue. Anna slid me a cookie I pretended to refuse. "Bread," she said, tapping the counter like an oath. Sometimes the world tries again. The doorbell guesses names and guesses wrong. The TV autoplays a life in which people save themselves with the perfect quip. The calendar proposes a focus block at 2 as if attention could be scheduled into moral clarity. We put whatever it is on the table, turn on one lamp, and ask for one sentence we can live inside. It keeps being enough until it isn't, and then we add a rule instead of a scene. On Thursday, Naomi texted from 2 blocks away. "Bring a lemon to loom. Sister mismanaged tea." I brought 2. Her sister cried into pastry and then laughed in the register Naomi loves most. We walked home in a rain that had decided to be weather instead of plot. That night we moved the couch 2 inches and the light forgot and remembered us. We carried that as proof that rooms can be trained, and maybe so can we. Last night, alone for an hour I didn't want, I opened Wallet and added a different pass. Our library card, the problem-solving kind of magic. I pinned a note to the top of my list that said simply room 0 lamp on 2 people. Naomi came in with drizzle in her hair and no lanyard and put her hand on my chest like a sentence she intended to keep. "Accept," she said, not as a question but as a ceremony. I did. The ceiling forgave us for practicing again. The lock turned for us from both sides, without a key I could screenshot. We are not pure. We are particular and practiced. The city will keep offering us access like it's love and toggles like their destiny. Men in Navy will keep sharing permissions they were never given. We will keep doing the cheaper, harder thing. One lamp, one table, oranges peeled, a song to the end, a doorway that claps when we kiss, settings we choose for ourselves, and a room that knows who it belongs to because we say so out loud before any app can pretend it knew first.